So I was privileged and lucky enough to coach in Pinellas County high schools for 6 years. And I've always felt that the coaches that I had when I was growing up had a big impact on my life and empowered me to become the person that I've become. And I hope to pass some of that along when I was doing my coaching. I've always been a runner. I ran my first track race when I was 8 years old. Ran my first road race when I was 11. This is a picture from a race called the Utica Boilermaker. It's a 15K in Utica, New York, where I grew up, and that was 1978 was the very first year they had it, and I was 13 years old. And running really is a lifestyle, like Patricia said. And I'm a firm believer in the saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you want to be a good runner or good at anything, you really need to do all the little things. And running especially, you have to get your sleep, you have to eat right, you have to train properly, not run hard all the time, listen to your coaches. So many things go into being a good runner, and that saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything, is really applicable to life and not just running. That's my dad. He was a UPS driver for 38 years. He got in an accident his first year driving the truck, and UPS fired him. The union got his job back, and the next 37 years he never had an accident. People used to tell me my dad was the best UPS driver. And he used to tell my brothers and I, no matter what you become in life, try to be the best at it. If you're a janitor, be the best janitor. But the other thing that my dad always said is stay in school as long as you can so you don't have to work for a living. He worked extremely hard, and he was my hero. I don't ever remember my dad calling in sick. In fact, he got to work a half hour early, and he would go in and set his truck up the way he wanted it set up. My dad was also my first coach. He coached high school CYO basketball for 15 years, and he coached my brothers and I in Little League. He was a great baseball player himself. He had a tryout with the Yankees, and my uncle told me he didn't go back for the second part of it because he wanted to get his driver's license to take my mom out. I'm thankful he did that. My parents have been married 66 years this year, and my dad coached my brothers and I in Little League. I was the bat boy for my brothers' teams. My brothers were much better baseball players than I was. Any other sport I did, the best thing I did was running. So if you can't hit the ball, you don't really get to run. So my brothers' teams were really good. When I was 11 years old, our Little League team went 0-15. And to a hyper-competitive kid that would flip the table over if I lost at checkers, it was devastating to me to lose every game and go back to my grammar school where everyone was in the Little League and they'd say, you guys lost again, huh? And I remember saying one time to my dad, Dad, why didn't you pick better players? And he said to me, I picked the kids who I thought were the best kids, not the best baseball players. Didn't understand it at the time, but as I got older, I started to get it. And when I got asked to coach at Dunedin High School, after my son's freshman year, they needed an assistant coach. So I volunteered to be the assistant coach, and we had a small team, less than 10 kids. None of the kids had ever broken 20 minutes for 5K. They didn't that first year. And one kid on the team, one boy, was a freshman, had never played a sport before. Hammock Park's about a half mile from Dunedin High School. He couldn't run that half mile that first week to get there. His first race, he ran 33 minutes for 5K. As a senior at Dunedin, after I coached him for 4 years, not exactly all due to my coaching, but really due to that boy, he did everything the right way. If I said get 8 hours of sleep, he got 8 hours of sleep the next 4 years. If I said you got to make sure you hydrate, he carried around a bottle of water with him everywhere. And as a senior, he ran 16:29 for 5K and set the Dunedin school record. He halved his time in 4 years. So I was able to apply some of those principles my dad taught me when I first took over the team, that these are good kids, we're going to try to coach them the right way, and some of them got really good. And I got to coach my son, Aiden. He was my captain for 2 years, and that was really such an enjoyable experience to get to coach your son. And he was a great kid. Not only did I learn from the coaches that coached me, I also got to learn from the coaches that I coached with. Coach Hauser is a great coach. He coached me here at Palm Harbor my last year in track. And Coach Albert still is a volunteer assistant here at Palm Harbor. He coached me 5 of the 6 years that I coached, and invaluable person to have helping us coach. Coach Sam Panisha was my first track coach. He coached at the rival high school that I ran against, but when I was 9 years old, he was the reason I did my first track race. He put on a summer track program in Utica, and he coached at Proctor High School for over 50 years. He was a great coach. They were the standard for our city for running. They were always great. They won a lot of championships. But the thing that stuck with me the most about Coach Panisha is when I was a freshman and we had a dual meet against Proctor High School, I had a blister on the back of my heel, and he saw me limp, and he said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I think these shoes are rubbing the back of my heel." And he said, "Hold on a sec, come with me." And he opens up his trunk, and he had a bunch of running shoes in the back of his trunk, and he gave me a pair of Brooks running shoes, the coach at the rival high school. That's what the running community is, such a great community, because running is not a sport where you necessarily have to compete against each other as much as you're competing against yourself. If you come in last place and you run your best time, that's a success. So that one thing, that kindness that he showed me, how you do one thing is how you do everything, I was able to carry that forward and see it in action. My first year coaching cross country at Palm Harbor, during the preseason, we had a lot of lacrosse players that came out to get in shape for lacrosse. And Josh DeWeese was one of those lacrosse players that had never run before. He was a senior, and I made him a captain because I could tell he was a leader. And he said to me, "Coach, why are you making me a captain? I'm not even a runner." I could tell by his kindness. It was Brennan's birthday. He went and got unprompted. He got cookies, and we sang happy birthday to Brennan. That kindness really came across to me, and I know I made the right choice in making him a captain, and by the end of the year, he was one of our varsity runners. My Notre Dame high school coach, Rich Ambruso, such an important person to me. He's still someone that I talk to. I call him if I need advice to this day, and he's now the principal at my high school. He had just graduated from college when he became my coach, and he was a great runner myself. And he ran in high school for Coach Panisha. In fact, when I was in high school, there were 4 high schools in Utica, and the 3 other coaches at the other schools besides Coach Panisha's high school all ran for Coach Panisha. That's what an impact he had on running. And the one thing that Coach Ambruso was great at was motivation, and the other thing he was great at was goal setting. When I was a freshman, he took me into his classroom. He was our health teacher, and we sat down and we made long-term goals and we made short-term goals. And I was able to meet a lot of those goals because of him. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was a freshman, but he said, maybe you could end up being a state champ. I ended up finishing 3rd in New York State in cross country and 5th in New York State in the 3,200 meters, so got pretty close to those goals. And I was elected to my high school sports hall of fame in 2018 because Coach Ambruso empowered me in setting those goals and sitting down and thinking that long-term plan. How you do one thing is how you do everything. My first year coaching Palm Harbor track, we had some really good runners that I thought could run a grade 800. So none of these 4 boys had ever broken 210 before, but we won the PCAC championship by dedicating themselves the whole season. After they ran their first 4x800, one of the boys, I think it was Mark, looked at the times and said, "Hey, Coach, I think we could break the school record." We ended up breaking the school record by 13 seconds, running the 20th best time in the state and winning the PCAC championships in the 4x800 2 years in a row. The second team that I love to coach, and I love to coach relays in track because it's truly a team event. The Japanese Olympic team won a bronze medal in the Olympics in the 4x100. I don't think they've ever had an individual 100-meter runner run in the individual 100-meter final at the Olympics. But they got a bronze medal in the Olympics because relays are about teamwork, particularly in an event like the 4x100. Your baton passes and your exchanges are more important than just about anything else. In fact, the U.S. typically has, 8 of the top 10 runners in the world in the 100 meters, but we don't always win the relay because they don't practice together. Other countries like Japan practice those handoffs. So these boys, after their first 4x100, said, "Hey, Coach, do you think we could break the school record?" And I was, we're over a second away. That's a lot. But we worked on our handoffs. They worked on their starts. And at the Pinellas County Championships, they broke the school record. So 4 boys, 3 of them had never broke 12 seconds before, averaged 11.2 for 100 meters in that relay because they worked on those handoffs. They worked on their starts. How you do one thing is how you do everything. My college coach was a legendary guy. He was larger than life to me. He would tell us stories sometimes about the things he did, and he served in Vietnam. He saw action. The day before he was scheduled to go home, the town that they were stationed near threw a big party for all the guys that were going home. And he felt that he would offend them if he didn't eat all the things that they were serving him, and one of the things they served him was dog testicles. And he got dysentery. And so he couldn't go home. And 2 days later, he almost got blown up. So he was that type of guy when you think of Robert Duvall and Apocalypse Now walking on the beach. That's the type of guy I felt like he was. And he told us a lot of things, and he would always talk about running in relation to life. What you're doing now and how you do it is how you're going to be when you get out of college and you're in your life. And one of the other things at the start of every season, he wanted us to run together as a group, as a pack. And we were a school that didn't have scholarships. He started Bucknell's varsity program. When he came to Bucknell in 1971, it was a club sport. 1982, my freshman year at Bucknell, a team with no scholarships athletically finished 12th in the Division I National Championships. And it was because of our pack running. And at the start of every year, he would give us a Rudyard Kipling poem. And for the strength of the pack is the wolf, and for the strength of the wolf is the pack. And we used that pack running to win over 200 consecutive dual meets under his tutelage. Osceola is the team in the picture on the right. They won the state championship that year. Their 5 girls ran as a pack, and Anna Portugal stuck her nose in there and tried to run with them. That was my first year coaching cross country, and seeing that pack running at the high school level was extremely motivating to me. And I thought to myself, why can't we be like Osceola? So the next year, our girls ran as a pack, and this is one of my favorite photos. So Faith Backey was one of my captains. And this is almost a mile into the PCAC championship at Hammock Park, and they all have smiles on their faces because they ran smartly. A lot of times, the people, when they get in a race, they get excited and they go out too fast. These girls followed a plan. They ran together, and we finished tied for second with Eastlake, but we beat them on the tiebreaker. The tiebreaker is the 6th person, and our 6th person, Lisa, beat Eastlake's 5th person. So we beat Eastlake on the tiebreaker and finished second, and that was a great accomplishment for those girls, and I really enjoyed seeing it. My Westchester Track Club coach has been my longest coach. I still consider Mike my coach. If I run a race, and it's a track race, which I haven't done for a few years, but I'll run it as a Westchester Track Club member. And Mike was someone who had a little bit of everything of all the other coaches, plus some. Mike had kindness that was beyond reproach. He was such a great coach that he would get people from around the world that wanted to come to the United States to run for Westchester Track Club and run with Mike. And he had people like me who weren't as good, and soccer moms and dads who worked on Wall Street, people that just wanted to run, and some of us wanted to run fast, and some people just wanted to be part of a club. But when people from Kenya or Ethiopia, Tanzania wanted to come over to the United States, Mike would do their visa paperwork for them. If they had to go to a lawyer, it cost thousands of dollars, but Mike would get them a special visa because they had a special talent of running, and he would do their visa paperwork for them. One of the other things besides being a great coach that Mike was always proud of was how many people had met as couples as part of the team and got married. And my wife, Anne Marie, I met her on the Irvington High School track in 1993, and this is our 25th year of marriage now. And she's the best person I know. So that's one of the best things I took from Mike was getting to meet my wife. But the other thing that Mike was really good at was getting us to understand that running isn't the be-all and end-all for most of us. We all have jobs, we have families. So he would always modify the workouts a little bit for us. And he used to say, it's better if we do a little less so you can get to the starting line and not get injured, and you can enjoy it a little more. So I carried that when I started coaching here at PHU, and I had a lot of IB kids on my team. Most of these kids at this school are so academically motivated, and sometimes kids would come up and say, Coach, I'm not going to come to practice tomorrow because I got to study for a test. Now, Coach Goulden would not have allowed that to happen. But Coach Barno would have been someone who said, you know what, that's important to them. You know, so we had a very successful 2 seasons of on the boys' side. And again, the people that I coach with motivate me. Coach Lewis, one of the best people I know. And he shamed me into getting in better shape. He rides his bike from Largo or Clearwater to come to work every day. He'd run every workout with the kids. So I'm riding my bike to work now. I want to be more like Coach Lewis. The 2022 boys PHU cross-country team is the best in school history. We won the PCAC championship. It was the first time and the only time in school history that PHU won the PCAC championship. They ran as a pack. They did one thing the right way, and they did everything the right way. So I hope that people can take that message of how you do one thing is how you do everything, and I hope I've been able to empower the athletes I coach the same way that my coaches were able to empower me. Thank you.